All right. This is the news with the Outcasts on Sirius and Selena's Outcast. But today I have a special guest. She's going to be doing the news with me, and she is Gianna Woods. What's up, Gianna? How are you?
Hey, how are you? I am doing great.
Good.
Thank you for the show.
Of course, of course. So if anybody is a fan of my show, Gianna has been on several times. We've done comedy things together. We've done interviews. But your claim to fame, Gianna, is
Mhm.
your large bosoms.
Yes.
So for the people that can't see, for the people that are listening on Spotify or Apple iTunes, how large are your bosoms?
Um, Currently they are a P cup. P as in Paul.
Wow.
Yes. I've
Yes.
actually been bigger, and so now I'm kind of like on the upswing again and getting back to a larger size. So yeah, that's what I am right now.
Well, I think it's fabulous. I am a boob guy. So ladies, please take note. I mean, you don't have to go as big as Gianna, but at least go and get some boobs if you got no boobs. Men love
They're
boobs.
I know, I
That's
know. Men
that's
are
the way it
either
goes.
guys or butt guys. I mean, I think everybody has kind of a feature that they find extremely attractive.
Yeah, I
So,
think I'm a boob guy, but butts are a close second, right? So here's boobs,
see,
here's
see?
butts, right? But
Exactly.
butts do me no good on
Yeah.
YouTube because I can't look at your butt on YouTube, so it doesn't really no good on YouTube, all right?
I'm telling you that the YouTube censors lately have been a little off the wall, but
Yeah,
yeah.
it's insane. So how many followers do you have on Instagram now?
I have a little over 130, I think like 132,000 right
Wow,
now.
that's pretty damn good.
Yes.
So tell everybody what your
It's taken
Instagram
a
is.
lot of work. That's like grown to that number over like maybe the last 4 years or so. So yeah.
Wow. What is your Instagram?
But that is Instagram.
I know
I'm, I'm
what
so.
is it? What's the name of your Instagram?
Oh,
Just Gianna
what
Woods?
is it? It's the Gianna Woods.
The
So
Gianna Woods.
if,
Okay.
if you Google my name, you'll have like the first 5 or 6 hits will be all my various social media
Platforms.
accounts or links to any other platforms I might be on or videos I've been in or whatever. So
Well, I'll make sure your Instagram is in the description so people could just click and go. And for people that are listening, her Instagram is the Gianna Woods. Gianna, do you like my shirt? I wore this for you.
oh, I like it.
It
I really
says
like it.
it says your sister's ass. And for those of you're not going to know this, but for those of you who don't know, if you're from the East Coast and you grew up in an Italian neighborhood, your sister's ass is an expression you use when something goes wrong. Like you drop something and you break it, you go, "Oh, your sister's ass," or something like
Oh,
that.
how funny.
Yeah.
Well,
So
I didn't grow up in an Italian neighborhood, so
yeah.
there you go. But I like that expression. I really like that.
So some like over the top Italian influencer made shirts, and I was like, okay, I got to buy one, and I got one.
There you go.
So, all right. Why don't we just get to the news? Do you want to start off with Biden? I mean, that's always fun.
Oh my gosh, where do you
Uh,
start with stories about Biden? There's so many of them out there. I've seen like I'll see notifications pop on my phone, and like most of them are about Biden, Biden this, Biden that, and then I think Trump is probably like second as far as
yeah.
headlines that pop up on the notification. So I mean,
Well,
you,
we
you can
have,
tell we're getting close to the election.
yeah, that's right. That's right. We have three stories on Biden. So let's go down
Mhm.
the first one. Let's see. This one was fantastic. Defiant Biden vows I'm the nominee, but says wrong election year at Wisconsin rally. So apparently, he was at a Wisconsin rally after the debate last week. And
Yeah.
so let's see. President Biden doubled down Friday on his refusal to leave the presidential race, saying, I'm the nominee and that I'm running and going to win again, but at one point mistakenly said the election year was 2020 as fellow Democrats suggested that he drop out due to perceived senility. Well, he's not wrong. He did win in 2020.
No, I think that probably his senility, if it didn't set in then, probably even maybe before. But yeah, I mean, I watched a little bit of the debate. I really tried, but
Me
after
too.
like the first few minutes, it was so excruciating that I just couldn't even watch it
Yeah.
anymore. I
I
mean,
I
I was, oh,
yeah, here was my take on it, okay? Obviously he's not running the country. I mean, he
oh
obviously,
no,
yeah,
no.
right.
Mm-mm.
There's no way in the world he's running the country. But even if the Democrats after the debate said nothing about concern of his well-being, and they said nothing about the concern of the country's well-being. They're just interested in beating Trump.
Yes,
So even if they pull him out and pull somebody back in, I'm still not voting for a Democrat because you don't have the country's best interest at hand if you don't even have that conversation when clearly the man is not capable.
no, no. And I was actually surprised that he wanted to run again, but I think it's kind of an ego and arrogance thing at this point. He refuses to give up. Is it too late for the Democrats to get another candidate on the ballot? They
I
can
don't
do it.
I don't know if that I'll be honest with you, I don't know if that ever happened. I don't know how that works. But here's the other thing too that I took away from this. His wife is like really trying to be his mouthpiece and campaigning for him.
Yes.
And my take
Hmm.
on it is you really should be ashamed of yourself. You see this man,
Yes.
you see your husband for many, many, many years just just crumbling before your eyes, right? He's obviously not well. I don't know who got in her ear or how it works behind the scenes, but at what point do you go, that's it? This is my husband and he is not well. Forget it. We're done here. Because you would think a loving wife would consider strongly consider that a possibility that okay, look, we're done. We have to seek medical attention. He can't stay fit. He is my husband. I need to make sure that he's good, that he's healthy, and he's obviously not. And so that even put a bad taste in my mouth when she just kept like the next day when she's like, "You did so good. You answered all the questions. Trump did
Yes.
nothing but lie." And
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah, yeah. I don't think either one of them want to admit how far he has declined.
right.
And I think they have tried so long and had the media hide so many things from the public. And
Hmm.
then the debate, I think, was the first time they weren't able to keep everything scripted. They weren't able to keep everything hidden. Now it's all out in the open.
Right.
And we're what, less than 100 days or so from the elections. Like, what are they going to do?
Yeah. Right. They're all in
At
panic
this,
mode.
what are they going to do? They don't want to lose their power and influence
Right.
that they have. So I think that may be part of the reason why, the whole family is just no, no, he has to run.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I think it's a power thing. One more comment about that, and then we'll move on to the next Biden story. If they would have never there the tinfoil hat conspiracy is that the election was fixed in 2020, right? And a lot of people
Mm-hmm.
truly believe that. If that were true, and Trump legitimately should have won, he would have been done by now. And the
Yeah.
Democrats could have convinced the American public that he did a shit job because he had nothing. We had nothing to compare it to, and they would have had
Yeah.
a better chance of getting in now. But now, when you throw Biden in and you see the disaster that happened, it's like you can't lie to the public anymore. Like you said, it's out in the open.
Yeah, yeah, it is. And surprisingly, I had seen a few news stories pop up, high-ranking Democrats are wanting him off the ballot. So
Right,
they're finally being truthful about what is going on, at least to some extent.
right. So here's the next story about Biden, and this one is great. So This is about an ex ESPN anchor who her name is Sage Steele. Did you ever hear of her?
I don't watch a lot of ESPN. I'm not a big sports fan, but I
She,
did kind of do the research and found out, what happened and who she was.
yeah, she's became relatively famous now because she kind of came out and said things like this that ex ESPN anchor says every single question of her Biden interview was scripted. It says here,
Hmm.
anchor, former ESPN anchor Sage Steele revealed that an interview she conducted with President Joe Biden had been scripted to the word, quote, end quote, and that she was told not to deviate from her script at all during the segment. The interview in question happened on March 31st, 2021, approximately 2 months after the president began his term in the White House. In reflecting on her interview, Steele described it as, quote, an interesting experience in its own right, end quote, because of how scripted it was. To the word, quote, to the word, like every single question was scripted, gone over dozens of times by many executives, editors, executives, Steele said in an interview with Fox News Digital. That's all you need to know right there. I mean, and she's become relatively famous because of this. She left ESPN. She has her own podcast now, and she's kind of doing her own thing. But that's really all you need to know. So they knew this was no
Oh
secret.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. They tried so hard to keep it a secret, but I mean, just seeing him do just a impromptu, press conference there at the White House, it was kind of like very short, very brief. You could tell they were rehearsed
yes,
answers.
yeah,
And everything was very controlled and only certain questions. And he only really corresponded with certain reporters that were there in the room. Nothing unscripted whatsoever.
right.
So yeah, I mean, this has been going on for a long time, and I'm glad that she finally did speak out and say, "Hey, this is how controlled everything is when you do some type of interview with him."
Yeah, and a lot of people are coming out and saying this. A lot of people are finally. I think when you have the golden handcuffs on, right? When you have a big contract like with ESPN, and you go, I got to keep my mouth shut, and then the people that walk away or get fired or so on and so forth, with the exception of Don Lemon, for some reason, he does not. He kind of sticks to the CNN thing. But like a Tucker Carlson, and you could go down the list, right? Candace Owens. Once they're free, they speak their mind.
Yes, and I think they should, and I think they should feel like they can without any fear of retaliation.
Yeah,
They should be free to speak their opinions, and I think it's very important that you can speak up, especially about politicians.
yeah.
We need to know the truth.
And here's a great stat. I don't know if you know this. Mainstream media, when we're talking mainstream media, we mean CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, so on, so CBS, blah, blah, blah. The majority of people now go to podcasts and they go to YouTube to find their news. The,
Yes.
o- the only reason, from what I understand, the only reason why the mainstream large media companies are still in business is because 75% of their sponsored revenue comes from big pharma.
Mm.
Because the majority of people that watch are like over 55, over 60.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if it wasn't for big pharma, they would have been gone with the dinosaurs by now. And I think in 5 to 7 years, they're gonna be gone. Mainstream media is gonna be gone. It's gonna take the place. Podcasting, YouTube is gonna take the place of mainstream media. And we can see now, like I go to Valuetainment for the news. Patrick
Yeah.
McDavid, he has a great channel, and he has great guests, and he has a pretty much a well balanced panel. Um, and I think that's going to go the way I think mainstream media is going to go the way of the dinosaurs. It's going to be extinct within the next 5 to 7 years, right? Let's see. And then the big scare is if they buy into podcasts, like if they let's say let's say for argument's sake, 3 to 4 years from now, they make Patrick McDavid an offer for valuetainment, right? Let's say CNN or MSNBC that he can't turn down, you know, and then they actually are able to do what they do in mainstream media only on podcasts. That's the scare. And then we're right back to square one where they're able to like hide and manipulate the media and so on and so forth. I hope to God that
Yeah.
that's not the case.
Well, yeah, I mean, I very seldom watch any TV news.
Right.
Everything I'm getting is, YouTube or some type of podcast or some other alternative source because I don't really trust the mainstream media anymore.
Yeah. And
So yeah,
and
yeah,
and I
I think
think
it's definitely in that direction, and I'm in that over 50 plus age range, and yeah, everything is mobile, everything is digital, and I think that's the direction that we're going,
yeah.
and I hope it stays in that direction, and you can hear alternative opinions and alternative voices, and nothing gets pushed back into the mainstream again because mainstream media is definitely not fair,
No, definitely
and
not.
yeah, I mean it definitely leans too far in one direction.
Absolutely. All right. Last story about Biden, because we're kind of beating a dead horse, right?
uh, but,
Parkinson's specialist met with Biden's physician at the White House earlier
mm,
this year, records show. So apparently, and this
yeah.
is according to CNN, a top Parkinson's disease specialist held a meeting with President Joe Biden, a physician, at the White House earlier this year, according to records. Though the circumstances of the meeting are unclear, Dr. Kevin Cannard, a neurologist at the Walter Reed National Military Medical Center, met with White House
Mhm.
physician Dr. Kevin O'Connor at the White House in mid-January, according to White House visitor logs. Uh, Cannard has visited the White House 3 times this year, according to visitors' logs, and January 17th meeting with O'Connor and with another staffer on January 26th and March 28th. Um, yeah, look, I mean, we're kind of beating a dead horse, but all signs, whether they don't want to admit it or not, point to him not being well.
Yes, I mean not only is it his speech and memory, but if you've seen videos of him, shuffling around. The other night when the debate was over, here was Jill helping him down off the stage,
Yes, yeah,
and I'm like, it didn't look like it should have been that challenging,
yeah,
you know. But he was like hesitant and pausing, and it took an extremely long time for him to step down off the stage and realize what was going on, and then pick a direction and start walking away.
yeah,
And I actually worked at a hospice center for a few years, and so they patients were there for various reasons, but some of them were there for end stage Parkinson's or other neurological things that were going on. And I remember looking at him going, I can remember seeing patients like that
right,
that you just knew that something was wrong. They were a little bit slower, had to be a little bit more patient with them. And I thought, that is not what we need to have in a president. A president should not be in that type of state. And it's really sad. It's sad that he's still in office and they're pushing him,
yeah,
forward for another.
yeah. That's why I've lost all respect for his wife because his wife should be the one going, "We're done
Yes,
here. We're done here. It's over."
yes,
And she's
yes.
not. She's just as corrupt as the rest of them, and it's just horrible to see.
Yeah. The whole family are, yeah, just a bunch of hooligans.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's go on to some fun stories. So
God.
this one looks actually pretty interesting. There is a lesbian dating app which uses facial
Yeah.
recognition to exclude trans women. The app claims its technology can determine 99% accuracy whether a new user is a cisgender woman. Gender critical activist Jenny Watson has developed L apostrophe app lap. That actually would make sense, wouldn't it? Wouldn't a lesbian
Yes.
lesbian app for dating it would lap? That would make sense.
I loved the name when I read the article. That made me giggle.
A dating app that scans prospective users' faces utilizing smartphone technology. The app claims to detect whether a woman signing up on the platform is cisgender or transgender with 99% accuracy. All right.
That was the first thing that caught my attention was 99% accuracy. And I'm like, really?
Yeah.
I'm not even that good. If I'm just like out meeting somebody or see somebody's, profile on social media or whatever, and I'm like, oh my gosh, how can they claim that they're that accurate? And I thought, well,
Yeah.
hey, but then I also found it was funny that, they were screaming, discrimination. Oh, we're being discriminated against. I'm like, okay, you would think you would want to be completely honest if you're out on a dating app
Yeah.
because you're out to find someone.
Yeah.
So if you're not being completely honest and you're trying to hook up with somebody, I mean, they're
That,
going to notice what's going on
that
eventually, and
then
you're
as
not
far as I'm concerned,
like,
then you're just a predator if that's the case.
yes, yes.
Right.
If you're not honest with yourself, how do you think you're going to get in a relationship with a, prospective partner?
So let's kind of dissect this a little bit. So there are trans women,
Mm-hmm.
men that want to be women, that go on
Yes,
dating apps for lesbians and try to hook up with lesbians, even though they're men, biological men. I mean,
yes.
try to wrap your brain around that. I mean, the fact that it doesn't make a bit of sense tells me
No,
that these men
no.
are just perverts.
Yes, they're very confused about who they are and what they want,
Hmm.
and now they're playing the blame game. And oh, we can't even go out on this app because we're being discriminated against.
Why don't you
Well,
go on
okay.
I'm sure there's a trans app. Go on that one. You know?
I know. I ran out of time, do a bit of research before we got on to to do the show tonight. And I'm like, okay, there's got to be something out there somewhere for them, an app, a website, or
Right.
whatever,
Yeah.
where they can go meet like-minded people and find somebody that they'll be happy with. Because I
Yeah.
know that has to be their goal.
I my opinion on I think in my opinion, the majority of trans people are trans women, men that want to be women. And
Hmm.
they're the ones that are kind of making the biggest stink. They're the ones that want to push into female bathrooms. They're the ones that want to go into female
Yeah.
sports. They're the ones that want to go on these dating apps. You don't see
Hmm.
that in the reverse. You don't see women that want to be men pushing that agenda.
No,
And
no. Well, and I think there's fewer of them, than there is the other way around. But yeah,
right,
I mean it seems to be the agenda of the day for the alphabet mafia, which is what I
right,
kind of
yeah,
refer
yeah,
to
yeah. That's
them.
right. Yeah, that's right. I like that. The alphabet mafia.
It's like, okay, what are they trying to push through, and try to, make it become a norm in society. I'm like, hey, I'm fine with what everybody wants to do, as far as social issues. I'm pretty liberal. It's like, hey, do your thing
Yeah,
as long as you don't infringe on me or my family. And so when they
right.
start trying to push all this through the schools and the workplace and all of this, and I'm like, I feel like I'm losing my protection as a heterosexual person.
As a
You're
woman,
you're pushing,
absolutely.
you're pushing all, and as a woman, you're pushing all this through,
Right.
and you want to have what I kind of see, as a higher standing than the rest of us. And I'm like, no, we're all equal. We're all
Yeah.
out here. We're all out to do our own thing.
Yeah, you're trying to play the virtuous game. Meanwhile, during the Pride parade, you're prancing around naked in front of kids, and
Yes.
or you're trying to be virtuous, but you want to do drag queen story time in preschool or libraries, and it's like I
Yeah.
said,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah. Yeah.
always the men. So in my estimation, if that's the case, then you're nothing but a pervert.
Yeah, that thankfully my daughter got out of school before the whole you have to share, the bathroom and the dressing rooms and all that thing, really started becoming more prevalent, and then here in Texas it's probably maybe not as common as it is, in
And
other parts of the country,
yeah, by me in New York, forget it.
Yeah, yeah.
You go to New York City, and I mean I'm in Jersey, so it's just it depends on the spot that you're in with the schools district. But once you go to New York City, you go to Manhattan, you go to Brooklyn. Um, yeah, it's and here's the funny part. Even in the most liberal parts of the city, People are pushing against it. I mean,
Hmm.
you see it, yeah. You see it in the Bronx,
Hmm.
because you see it with black families and Hispanic families that are Catholic. Um,
Yes.
they're pushing against it. You see black families because black families are usually very Christian,
Hmm.
Protestant
Hmm.
Baptists. They're pushing against it, and in the Muslim communities, which there's a big Middle Eastern
Yes.
population in New Jersey and New York City. They just don't show it on mainstream media. But
Yeah.
if you go on podcasts, or if you could see it with your eyes like I do, because I work in the city every day, it's
Yeah.
obvious. It's obvious, and you have families and you have people that are pushing against it and don't want it. But it's I don't know why they're pushing it. I have no idea. It doesn't make any sense to me. But it seems like New York City and California seem to be the worst as far as pushing this agenda.
Oh
Seems to be
yeah,
the absolute
California
worst.
stand is yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
it's
mean,
all right.
yeah,
Let's
and
see. This is a good one. I need your opinion on this one. Next article, because
okay.
this one is fantastic. So I love this one. Okay, this comes from the Daily Mail. Cougars in the classroom. There's an alarming rate of teachers charged with graping young boys in America. It shows here dozens of female teachers have been arrested this year across the nation for sex crimes involving students as the seeming number of cougars in the classroom continue to grow. A long line of female teachers allegedly involved with youngsters across the country dominates headlines. DailyMail.com discovered 25 female teachers that have been arrested in 16 states in only the last 12 months, and it is feared to be merely the tip of the iceberg as there appears to be no centralized data collection to track this disturbing trend. And it gives all the mugshots of these girls. Many of the accused female
Yes.
Many of the accused female teachers charged in the last years are married, and one was even
Mhm.
named Teacher of the Year. So it says here the teachers are enticing students with sexual charged texts, nude photos, and videos before and during physical encounters, police say. Wow. I mean,
Yeah.
it first,
And I'm like, what is causing the rise in this? And I'm like,
and
is
this
it
is,
the whole social media influence? Everything's easily accessible. Everybody's got a phone. Oh, I'll send a cutesy little video. And I'm like, what are they thinking? They're the adults in this situation.
yeah, and it's anywhere from 13 to 17, the ages of the boys.
Yes. Yeah. I
It's
mean,
un
I was like, really? And I'm kind of like, is it like a power thing with them? Oh,
well,
I'm the adult. I'm the teacher. This is my student. They're easily influenced. What is it that they think they're getting out of this relationship that they're involved in?
I I don't know, but here's what they're apparently they have a an opinion from a child psychologist, Dr. Michael Aberschneider of Ashburn Psychological Services. Said social media influence has contributed to the abuse dynamic and rise in number of cases. Social media can serve to blur the lines between the student-teacher relationship, which can in turn open doors to more inappropriate outcomes. He explained the students have more access to their teachers through various online formats, which can lead to inappropriate communication and even inappropriate relationship of sexual nature. As we've seen in the news, some female teachers are choosing to put their out sexually focused content on sites like OnlyFans, Loyal Fans, Fansly, and other similar platforms that students can see and be part of. He said even Instagram and other social media platforms allow students to see and to possibly interact with their teachers more personal or in intimate ways. I, I'm a little torn with this because
Yeah.
number one, and this is why I'm torn. Where were these teachers when I was a kid, right?
Yeah, none of my teachers were that attractive. It's like I wouldn't call any of them cougars, but
and how come they're not interested in 48-year-old YouTubers?
yeah,
I mean, I don't know.
exactly. It's
If
like
I show
why are they
you,
so on
Gianna,
to these young kids? Yeah.
I don't know, Gianna, but if I ask you
Hmm.
how many DMs from random men you get on Instagram per day, what would you say?
Oh my gosh, I probably couldn't even come up with a number. I've got a lot of my privacy settings where a lot of them kind of go into a folder, and I'll deal with them later. But
So you can't even count them, right?
20, 25, maybe at
A
least
day.
on
Yeah.
any given day. Yeah,
Okay. All right.
it kind of
So
goes in cycles, probably a little more in the weekends versus during the week,
okay.
you
Okay.
know.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah. When people have time
they,
off.
they,
Yeah.
they have more time on their hands. But, it would only be, just the messages, depending on what platform it is. It could be photos, of certain areas of their body that I guess they think
Ah.
I find enticing. Or if they're really bold, I'll even get like a short little video clip,
Oh.
look what you've done to me, or something along those lines. I'm kind of like, who are you and why are you
Uh,
sending this to me?
oh
So
my.
it's like you're hiding behind your phone and your little computer and you're doing something that you would probably never be bold enough to do, in
Yeah.
person.
Yeah. Now let's flip it, okay? And I want your honest opinion, all right?
Hmm.
Okay. I'm in shape, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't think I am a bad looking guy, okay?
No,
Right?
you're a good looking guy.
Right. I'm a good looking guy. I'm in shape, right? I have for
Hmm.
48 years old. I mean, I have like the six pack abs and very muscular and so on and so forth. I have this great personality, which is why my YouTube channel is doing well, right? So on and so forth. Guess how many DMs I get from strange women every day on Instagram?
Um, 5.
Try zero. None. The
None.
zero. None. Zero. So this is why I'm a little torn because 13-year-old kids that don't even have pubes on their hair, okay, and the girls and
Yeah,
shit.
yeah, yeah,
And here's me, and I'm like, what the hell?
yeah. You're
I,
you're in
I
the prime time of your life. What's going on?
I think it is in my opinion, I think the control instinct of a woman
Yeah.
kind of takes over. I don't want to go too deep into human nature, but women like to have a man that they can control, right? Because in primitive times, if they weren't able to keep a man, they weren't able to survive. Their kids weren't able to survive.
Yes.
So they developed
Yeah.
this instinct where I need to be able to keep a man. So there's control. Obviously, the number one, control of a monster, control of a guy who is a badass is really what a woman wants, right? Uh,
Yes.
that's the
Yeah.
Beauty and the Beast story, and King Kong,
Mhm.
and it's like you. I want you to be vulnerable, but for me as a woman, but you need to be a badass enough to keep the other badasses away, right? And
Correct.
I don't even think women understand it. I think it's just instinctual, but I think these instincts kind of can go haywire and go to the extreme. And I think that's what you're seeing in these girls. They're kind of almost turned on by the fact they are turned on by the fact that they can control and do and play these kids like puppets, if you will.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the whole power thing, and it's something that those young boys do not understand.
I have no clue. They
That
have no idea.
they're excited and hormonal, and oh, this hot older teacher, really thinks I'm great, so I think they get caught up maybe in the physical side of things,
I
and
would
can't handle the emotional side that goes with it.
let's go down the rabbit hole a little bit because as I'm talking to you and discussing this, I wonder I wonder how many women that were teachers that did this got pregnant from a 16, 17, 15-year-old that
Yeah.
they said the majority of them were married
Yes.
and then went home and told their husband, I'm pregnant, it's your baby.
Oh, surprise, honey. We're going to have a baby. Yeah. Well, I can't, recall any certain, names or circumstances, but I know I've seen stories pop up, on social media and news channels talking about, these inappropriate relationships that have gone on and some of the
Yeah.
consequences of, what has happened. I'm sure that probably has happened,
Because
but
it's not much of a stretch, right? It's really not much of a
no,
stretch.
no. Mm-mm.
Or the other thing I'd like to know is the men that are married or are dating them or engaged to them, do they stick around after the girls get arrested? Or are they stupid enough to believe the girls when they say it's not what you think, this is all fake, even though you see the pictures and text messages? I would love to know how many men stick around.
If I was them, I would be out of there. I mean, where's the trust? Where's the honesty? I mean, all that goes right out the window once
Yeah.
it's discovered what's going on. And as a parent of a teenager, I mean, I would be so angry and so upset if I found out that had happened,
Yeah.
with a teacher
Right,
and a
right, right.
student, in my teenager school. I mean, ugh, that would be just totally horrifying.
The teachers when I was growing up, they were horrible looking. First of all, I went to Catholic school and there were
Oh well,
nuns.
okay, there you go. The
And
nuns.
they did have lay teachers, what you referred to them as lay teachers, which were just,
Mm.
people that taught in Catholic schools that weren't nuns, but they were not attractive. I mean, they were hard. There was one attractive teacher named Miss Cara, and every kid had a crush on her for some reason, except me. I really, but all the other kids had a crush on her, but she was the only attractive one. But that was it. But the rest of them just looked like middle-aged, out of shape teachers.
Yeah. Oh well. Yeah. Yeah. The only attractive teachers that I can really think of when I was back in high school, would be know, one of the coaches, the coaching staff that was there, because they tended
They're in
to be,
shape.
more athletic. They're in shape, more in
Right.
shape than some of the other ones. And when I was back in high school, it was the reverse. It was the male teachers that were doing inappropriate things with the female students.
All right. We had a little technical difficulty, but we're back. So
Yes,
it seems as if the predators are now the women as opposed to the men.
yes. And that just surprises me. I don't know where that's coming from. I mean, okay, I've always been attracted to older men myself, but not when I was back in high school. I didn't really, I didn't really get to that point until I was like, mid 20s,
Right.
and was dating people my age, and I'm like, okay, this is not working. So I found myself attracted more to the age group of my siblings. I've got older siblings that are 8, 10 years older than me. So I kind of tend to go that direction, with the people that I date and the person I eventually married. So,
Mhm. Yeah, it's a strange phenomenon, and again, the mainstream media does not talk about it. And these are things that you read about online, or they talk about it on podcasts. It's unbelievable. But last news article. This is the best one. This is from the New York Post. Couple arrested after X-rated margarita stunt in restaurant goes viral, and they accidentally called the cops on themselves.
now
Okay.
that's stupidity right there.
Yeah. All right. So let's see. A Georgia couple was filmed engaging in an explicit act with margarita inside a Mexican restaurant and were later arrested after the wife complained to cops about the X-rated video spreading online, according to a report. Joe Boyette, sorry, took a now viral video of himself attempting to funnel a margarita down the butt of his wife, Mary Sweats. Why do they, if it's his wife, why do they have two last names?
Yeah, yeah,
Inside Rodeo Mexican restaurant in Waycross, Georgia. However, Boyette couldn't get the funnel to work, so we tossed it and poured the tequila based beverage from the pitcher straight down his wife's rear end, and she was on all fours in the restaurant booth. Ah,
yeah,
screen grabs from the explicit video show a woman on her hands and knees in a restaurant booth with her butt exposed, with the man in a baseball cap and orange shirt holding a margarita behind her. One image shows him pouring the beverage, while another shows him grinning after the act was completed. Oh, that's great. Sweats then
yeah,
called the
yeah.
cops to complain about their raunchy video being leaked and going viral online.
Yeah, yeah.
What do you think was
Leaked
gonna
by
happen?
whom?
Yeah, what do you think was gonna happen, lady?
Yeah, yeah,
Just
yeah, yeah,
don't. Everybody has
yeah.
a cell phone. Everyone
Yes.
has a cell phone.
And I'm kind of like, were they doing this when the restaurant was crowded, or was it like at the end of the night, and they were cleaning up and getting ready, to close down, or, what was going on when they were filming this? And it had to be one of the employees
Oh,
that leaked it.
yeah. Are you kidding?
Yeah.
Yeah, some waiter or busboy came out and went, "Oh, we got to get this on,"
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Well, what'd you think you were gonna?
Well,
What'd you think was gonna happen? You know,
yeah.
well,
Well, and being from Texas, and I'm like, the first thought I had was, a waste of good tequila. Come on. That you don't do that to a margarita. Those are sacred. Those are sacred here.
tequila is my drink of choice too, by the way, but not on a woman's butt crack. That's for sure. But yeah,
No,
it's just
no.
you know what blows me away is they do these stunts, whether they're
Hmm.
intoxicated. Being intoxicated is not an excuse. Okay,
No, no.
it's not an excuse. And then they want to blame their husbands for doing it or their boyfriend or whatever the case may be, and they play the blame game, but they were willing to
Yeah.
do it, knowing everybody has a cell phone, right? And I
Hmm.
guarantee you, she didn't freak out until she realized that it went viral on the
Yeah.
internet. Yeah, guaranteed.
Oh, yeah, yeah. But was not shy and ashamed until everybody is watching. And I'm like, how did I miss it? I didn't see this. It didn't. If it went viral, I didn't see it anywhere. So who knows? But yeah, that just cracks me up.
It's just it's unbelievable. Like I never even I never even thought I'm with my wife for 12 years.
Hmm.
Not once did I ever say, you know what would make this margarita great?
I mean,
And
but body shots is one thing. Booty shots, I mean,
yeah,
no, 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 no. We don't need to be exposing
yeah.
that.
You see, that's why you need a wife that gives you boundaries. Because
Yes.
a wife that gives you boundary keeps you out of trouble. You need a wife that
Hmm.
is in
Hmm.
love with you, that wants to have sex with you, wants to satisfy you. But when you get to the point where you're throwing around ideas that are a little crazy, she goes, "No, we're not doing that."
That's kind of what I have to do with my hubby sometimes. I mean, he probably has more of an adventurous side than I do, and
Yeah.
he's like the big social butterfly, and he's just like, life of the party, laughing, joking kind of person. But we'll be out somewhere. I'll be like, honey, you need to tone it down a little. I think you're taking a little bit too far, honey.
Yeah.
You really don't go do that.
Yeah. You keep him on the straight and narrow, otherwise he'll wind up arrested. He'll have a video that
Yeah,
over, or you'll wind up in the operating room, the emergency room, right?
yeah, yes, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
There were just certain things. That's why I truly believe that men and women are natural to be together. Because here's what I mean: when you have two men, like a gay couple,
Hmm.
nobody's putting a border around anything. One guy goes, "Let's do this." The other guy goes, fuck it, why not? Let's give it a shot." And then you wind up in the ER because like the remote is up your ass or something like that, right?
Yeah,
Where a
yeah.
woman will go, we're not doing that. No. And it keeps everything on the straight and narrow, you know? Think
It
of
keeps
something.
everything balanced.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it really does. Yeah. Yeah, my wife has told me plenty of that. No, no, we're not doing that. No, no, no. Once
See?
I get once I get like once I cross the line of creepy,
Yeah,
right? That's
yeah,
when she goes, no, no, we're not doing that. No.
yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, my husband, bless his heart, he'll make kind of off-color, inappropriate, comments, but not intending it to be mean or harmful. I
Right.
mean, he's just joking around, having a good time. But when the whole Me Too thing started, I'm
Oh,
like, you really need to be careful what you're saying, because someone will be totally offended
absolutely.
and take it the wrong way.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It almost happened to me actually. I
Oh,
would I was in the gym. This is during that whole time, the height
yeah.
of the Me Too thing. I was in the gym. I
Hmm.
was going to Gold's Gym, and there was this girl working out in front of me, and I didn't know who she was. She didn't know who I was, and she turned around and we met eyes. So I do this
Mm.
thing if I meet eyes, if it's a girl, if it's an uncomfortable stare, I'll make a funny face. So I went like this, right? Hoping that she would laugh and just move on.
Louder, yeah. Hmm.
Right, right. So it would like break the tension. She went to the owner and said that I was sticking my tongue out at her. And then he called me over before I left, and I went, "Yeah, I did. If you consider that."
Uh-huh.
And he went,
Yeah.
"Oh, okay, all right, I get it now." And he goes, "If this thing grows legs, I'll take care of it. Don't worry about it." But it's alive and well. Yeah, you're 100% right. So,
Mhm.
unfortunately, apparently, he almost got me too'd by his own wife. This poor guy that just wanted a drink tequila down her butt crack.
Yeah, every time I think about that news story, it just makes me giggle. It's like, hubby and I have probably done things that some couples may consider more on the wild side, but never anything that crossed the line and went that
Yeah,
far.
yeah,
Not
yeah.
in public.
Right,
If we're in our backyard in our pool and have people over, friends or whatever, that's a little different.
right.
Those are friends, those are our buddies, and we can get away with more, but not out in public. I mean, come
Not
on,
at a
people.
restaurant. Jesus, I'm not with kids there.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 Well, Gianna, I just want to thank you for doing this with me. It's been a pleasure. You are a great
Oh, thank
co-host.
you.
We will
Yeah,
definitely
it's
do it
been
again.
fun.
It's absolutely a pleasure having you. Now, you're on Instagram, the Gianna
Yes.
Woods. You have
Hmm.
130,000 followers on
Yes.
Instagram.
Yeah.
What
Yep.
other are you on OnlyFans?
I am on OnlyFans,
Okay, is it the same thing?
and yes, yeah,
Okay.
you can find me on there if you just search for my name on any
Okay.
of the platforms. But yeah, I'm on OnlyFans, and I still have Twitter, X, whatever name they want to call themselves this week. I still have
Okay.
that one, but it's not as active as some of the other ones. So the main place to find me would be on Instagram or OnlyFans.
All right, great. And one last question, because I want to know, I'm curious,
Hmm.
and I'm sure the other people are curious. You are a P cup now.
Yes,
Are you going any bigger?
I will be going bigger. Um, I have expanders again, which I
Expanders.
had.
Okay.
Yeah, you should be familiar with, talking with Luna. I'm sure she's kind
Yeah.
of filled you in on the whole expander thing. But yeah, I have expanders again. So when the doctor says it's okay, I will slowly be going back to a little bit bigger size. Maybe not as big as I was at one point before I had to downsize, and kind of take it easy for a little bit, but definitely larger than what I am now. So.
Okay. So for people who don't know, expanders
Hmm.
are a saline implant. Is that accurate?
Correct.
And there is a
Correct.
valve, and you
Hmm.
could fill them as much as you want when they are inside, or deflate them as much as you. If you want to go smaller, you can go smaller. You want to
Correct.
go bigger, you can go bigger. And
Hmm.
there's pretty much no limit. But you just have to give yourself time so the skin stretches out, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. They're more commonly used as tissue expanders if you've had, mastectomy or some type of surgery. You're trying to expand and make room for some type of implant, or some corrective surgery. And now it's been used more in the cosmetic field to be able to slowly go up to a larger size without having to go in and swap out implants and go through multiple surgeries and and all the risks that are associated with that.
So
So
this is
yeah,
a lot more practical if you want big, large bosoms.
I think it is. I think it is. It's a lot more practical. I think it's a little healthier because you can go at a slow pace. Whatever your body lets you do, that's how fast you go. You don't have to
Hmm.
push the limits, and it's a little easier on your pocketbook too. You're not having to do multiple surgeries. So yeah, it's an option. It's not a very well known option. There's not a lot of of surgeons that will even think
Consider it. Yeah.
about doing this. So yeah, yeah,
Well, Gianna, I wish you the best. Always much love and
yeah,
respect. Thank you for coming on. We will keep in touch and we will definitely
yeah.
do this again. Thank you.
Oh, you're quite welcome. Had a lot of fun. Great to
All right.
talk with you.
We'll see you soon. Bye bye.